Okay, welcome back to the next episode of Bike Chats. Today we have the Yamaha MT-07 and R7, and next to me is Christine Yang and Matt Mason. Now the point of this video is Matt Mason owns a MT-07 and Christine Yang owns a R7. Now we have given them the opposite bikes, so MT-07, R7, switched it up, and they are going to tell us what their thoughts are of these two motorcycles behind us. So Christine, what are your thoughts of this MT-07?
First, there was quite a bit of difference. I always heard that the R7 and the MT-07 were basically the same bike, but when you jump on the MT-07, it didn't feel anything like the R7. I think the only similarity is lack of sound, because there's no exhaust on these things. Yep. And maybe the power, but everything else, it felt like it wasn't the same bike, which is what I often hear people say. It's just the MT-07, the R7's and MT-07 fairings, so they ride completely differently. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think, they got the same engine. There's so many similarities. Yeah, I feel like, seating position and just like seat height and things like that makes such a big difference. I feel like you'd use them for different applications for sure. Yep. Yeah.
And I think like the whole point of this video is that a lot of people that when they come into Bikebiz, it is kind of like, do I go a sports bike, more of a naked bike? So it's good to see the difference between the two and to kind of give you those two different, motorcycles, because really they are very different bikes.
Yeah, and they look, I think they have a completely different vibe and look. Yeah.
Now, can I ask you, if a learner rider was, because both these bikes are the Lambs versions, if they were to come into the store, really, how would you explain to them which one is better?
I think the only time I would recommend someone to buy the R7 as a learner or a beginner is if they intended to go straight to the track. I think this bike is way more track oriented. I think it's just it's got the clip-ons. I think the tires are more suited to the track than the ones that come with the MT-07. The stance, so if you wanted to go to the track, then I'd recommend the R7. But for any other beginner, I'd say the MT-07. The riding style is, it's less aggressive, so it's for a beginner would be way easier. I think there's more field of vision, so you can see more. And when you're a beginner, it's super important to see what's going on the road and to sort of become familiar.
And Christine, like you said to me when we met up the other night, and we were riding there, and because you're used to the R7, one of the things you said to me was, "Oh, the wind was kind of in my face," and but then this morning you said, I'm used to it now, and I kind of understand the point of the bars and everything. And
I think to answer your previous question, which is what would be better for a beginner, I think riding a naked style bike removes a lot of variability and uncertainty when you're learning basic skills. So with the R7, you obviously leaned more forward, you have more pressure on the fork, so if you make a mistake, you feel that a lot more than you would if you're sitting upright. Sitting upright, you're also normally we sit upright, so we're used to that. So it's something we're used to and accustomed to, whereas learning a new skill in a new position that you're not used to, that's why I find that this bike would be a much more challenging bike to master early on. Not saying that you can't do it. Everyone has their own preferences, and people do like the look of the sports bike. Like I started on a sports bike. Yeah, I think that's the key thing to take in mind if you are a beginner. Naked bikes just make things a bit easier because it's more comfortable. But yeah, after riding it for a little bit, I did get used to not having the windshield and having the wind hit me in the chest, because that was definitely something I was like, whoa, why is it so cold? And where did this wind come from? And I've never felt wind on my stomach before when I've ridden my bike. So that was a massive difference, and I think getting my head around that, once I got my head around it, I got to actually enjoy the bike and how it rides and what it's used for.
And the turning circles, you guys are talking about, the difference.
Huge difference. The MT-07 has a way tighter turning circle, and I feel like if you're a beginner, you might get lost when you're riding around, so it might be good to be able to quickly do a U-turn and get out of there. But huge difference. And just the handling in general is super different. Like just the different forks, you got the clip-ons, and I feel like the handling on the R7 is I don't know, just better, I suppose. I felt like it was way more solid, and you felt less of the road, which I liked.
One of the biggest things that I noticed as well with the MT-07 compared to the R7 is it's shorter. So I can't flat foot on the R7. I only have one foot down and maybe the toe of my other foot. But on the MT-07, I could put both feet down. And I don't know if that's because of the way that I'm sitting, that I'm forced to sit more upright. But it means that I could actually push my bike backwards when I was sitting on it, which is something I've never done before. So yeah, when it comes to stopping at a traffic light, and you might get scared like, oh, I'm gonna drop it. That's another reason why I find this would be more beginner friendly, because you have the ability to put both feet down. If not all the way, well I did, if not all the way, then at least like 50% of the way on each side.
But I also think if you were like if you were like 6'2" plus or something, then this might be a bit too hectic for you. You know what I mean? If you're like a really tall rider. So it's interesting how it's like kind of like there's like a sort of a height sort of middle ground for this bike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other thing that I thought was really weird was when I stopped, I felt like I was standing up.
Right, okay.
And I've never felt that before. Usually I was like, oh, I feel like I'm literally standing. Whereas on this I'm like,
This is like sitting on a couch compared to this.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh.
that's sitting on the couch, that's leaning over the counter waiting for your food.
Yeah, no.
Do you think you two would, swap as in your own bikes? Like, do you think you could see yourself riding an R7?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because I've had the MT-07 for a couple of years. It's like every time you borrow a bike, it's kind of just like, oh, now I want to buy one. It's kind of annoying in that sense. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really like. Well, it's just I just I fell in love with the plastics. Like, not only do they look sick, but just the not having wind hitting you, and it's like, I don't know if that has anything to do with like speed or acceleration or anything, having that, but it would for sure. Like, maybe not when I'm riding it, but yeah, I just really liked feeling sort of in that little pocket of air. Feels great. So yeah, I would definitely.
At one with the bike.
Yeah, exactly. You do.
Yeah.
You do. You feel more connected. Yeah. I would definitely. I kind of want to give it back.
And how about you? I know you're in love with your R7, so
yeah.
I feel like it's hard.
Honestly, I don't do a whole lot of commuting anymore, but I would take the MT-07 over the R7 in terms of commuting. If you're taking a passenger, definitely that one.
Yeah, that's right. We did talk about that.
I don't know if you can see on the camera, but this seat is tiny. It's like,
I'll do a zoom in shot. Clip it over
it's like as big as your hand. So it's like, I took my Rosie jumped on. She jumped on the back of this, and I was like, oh, you sure? She was fine, but I think it might be a bit scary. That's another thing. If you're planning on having a pillion passenger, or if you're planning on doing that often, I think it's way more comfortable on the MT-07 for sure, 100%. It's lower, the seat's bigger. I just think it's way more pillion friendly. But
I've sat on the back of my R7, as in the garage, and as soon as I did that, I took the seat off and I threw it out.
Yeah.
I took the pegs off and I took the seat off. It was gone.
It isn't really designed for that. It's kind of like, here, we'll give you it in case you need to kind of go to the track and back. Or something, like your mate's bike breaks down or.
I think the other thing as well, I don't know if it's a big of a problem with the MT, but the actual rider's seat of the R7 is quite long. So when I sat on the pillion seat, I was quite far away from. You'd be quite far away from the person in front of you, and I've ridden on the back of an R1 that had a similar seat, where I fell into the driver's seat.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's because I didn't want to hug my cousin. So, I didn't really know what to do. So when she braked, I kind of just went and I fell in the seat in front.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same.
It'd be longer so that you can put your hips back when you're tucking in, maybe.
Yeah. So, but for a pillion, it's like, well, there's this gap between us. What do I do?
Yeah, for sure.
Put a backpack?
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, Matt.
I'm a musician from Sydney. I've been motorcycling for since I was like 18, so 16 years or something. I started riding because a friend of a friend was getting deported, and he had these like two old rusty CD 250s Hondas, and they were kind of just both project bikes, and he gave both of them to me for like $1,000 or something, and then we just kind of combined all the non-rusted parts from both of the bikes and sort of got something going, which I rode for a couple of years. And then when that was like really like completely falling apart, I was like, I need to buy a bike. I'd been playing Yamaha pianos, since forever, and I've always had one in the studio, like an upright, and so I was always drawn to the, I don't really know, I was just kind of like, people have said that there's like a musical element to the Yamaha motorcycles in a way, like I think there was some sort of ethos by the, when the company first started making bikes, they wanted to sort of include the musicality of the pianos into the bikes and how they ran, and so I've always been interested in Yamaha bikes for that reason. So I just did a little bit of research, and I thought that the MT-07 fitted me perfectly, just commuting just around the inner west and things like that. Then we put up a Instagram video of me riding it around at a rehearsal one day, and it still had the Bikebiz number plate on.
Yeah.
And I think, Tommy.
It was my cousin saw it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Tommy messaged me and was like, hey man, I just noticed that you had a Bikebiz bike, we know the band. Do you want to come for a ride? And we've been made since.
Yeah. That's right. And our first ride was on old Yamaha 2-strokes as well. So
yeah. With no indicators.
That's right, yeah. It was the first time you came with us, and I said, look, I don't have any indicators.
You'll be right. I was like, what the hell? Who is this guy?
And Christine, we've done a video together.
Yes, I'm back.
Fantastic Triumph. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, a bit about myself, like my profession. I'm a strategy consultant by trade. I've been working in corporate since, for 6-7 years, but I'm in the phase where I'm kind of transitioning out of that. I naturally am a little bit creative. I do stuff on social media. I love helping brands build things and solving problems. I also like testing things and working on little projects, which is what really got me into bikes in the first place. I liked the idea of riding, but I liked more the idea of, can I take it apart and put it back together? So I started making content, and that's how we kind of found each other.
It sounds like a stalker on social media.
No. Like, as in, okay, maybe.
Like Yamahas.
We, as in Bikebiz, yeah.
I'll explain who I am. Yeah, I'm a stalker on Instagram. I've got all my cousins and brothers out there looking for people. Yeah. And you have it on the 3 as well.
Yeah, so
trying to bring it back.
We'll fix it in post.
I've never posted my R3. How did you know?
Not my ways.
Yeah, so I started making content, and as I started riding a bit more, I got into track riding, which I spoke about last time. And ever since I started track riding, I wanted to do more. I wanted to get better, I wanted to get faster. And I just became so absorbed into the whole motorcycling industry. So I do a bit of work on the side now with motorcycling stuff, apparel as well. Yeah, that's a bit about me. More to come, but next project, I am building a track R3 that I'm going to be sending it and hopefully getting better.
Well, look, I think this has been an awesome day. We're here on this awesome point. We haven't been interrupted. We thought we were going to get interrupted by some canoes taking us out.
The cyclists of the sea.
We can be the motorcyclists of the sea.
There's fish jumping behind us. Hopefully we've got some of that. So thank you guys for coming out. This has been an awesome day of riding.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully we can do some more in the future. And
cool.
I hope you enjoyed the bikes.
Yeah, man. Let's get these in the water and do a couple laps.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next Bike Chat.
See ya.
Sweet. Like you two can, like what we were doing.
What? What's so funny?
Yawning as I'm talking.
No yawning in the vid.
I've got that, mate. Look, it's right.
Uh-oh, busted.
Busking. No one got that.